I'm Zoe Delahunty-Light, and Fallout on Prime has sucked me back into Fallout 4, but it just wasn't scratching my Fallout itch, so I did what previously would have been unthinkable. I've gone back to Fallout 76. I know, but it's been 7 years, so I wanted to see what it's like now. I remember the T-posing from back then, but I cannot play that reunions quest again. Or run into Preston in Concord. I just can't. So, here's how my return to the cryptid-infested, irradiated Appalachia went. The biggest change in Fallout 76 from way back when it first released in its bug-infested, uniformly panned state is that NPCs are now in the game. Thank God. When I first reviewed Fallout 76, the world felt so desperately empty, so devoid of any intrigue, as every single quest that involved human connection had a foregone, dull conclusion. They were dead. Everyone is dead. Praise the wise Mothman that that's no longer the case, as, within 5 minutes of leaving the vault, I had met 2 very friendly, very human faces. Now, having NPCs doesn't mean Fallout 76 is suddenly a 10 out of 10, rated 5 stars on Trustpilot, but it certainly helps to embed you in Appalachia. I was gently ushered back into the post-apocalypse by a quest that started at the new inn called the Wayward. While its ending was rushed, the main body of it was decent enough for it to serve as a baby vault dweller tutorial of sorts. Even remembering back to when I first played Fallout 76, having this quest on my doorstep was a vast improvement on just being thrown into the wilderness. Acclimatizing to the setting is a crucial part of getting into any story, so starting with almost nothing to go on in the original Fallout 76 immediately and consciously alienated me to the game, so this quest at the Wayward kicked off my second impression to a good start. To my delight, I also got to interact with an Assaultron named Polly, who isn't a patch on Good Neighbour's iconic See You Next Tuesday-esque Cleo, but still. After completing the Baby's First Steps quest and getting a vague introduction to the new NPC factions camped out in the wild, I went on to explore Appalachia. Fallout 76 is a slight facelift on Fallout 4, and I personally find Appalachia way more interesting to explore than Fallout 4's Commonwealth. To me, the Commonwealth was always dull, bleak, and looked the same no matter where I went, with the exception of the Glowing Sea and the DLC's Nuka World and Far Harbor. Whereas in Appalachia, my surroundings changed from lush forest to acidic, bleached craters to ash-strewn mines, so from a purely aesthetic standpoint, I way prefer to spend time walking through Fallout 76 than Fallout 4. The smoother frame rate and resolution did not hurt either. Fallout 76 is definitely weirder than Fallout 4 too. A chunk of that comes from the attempt to compensate for the lack of NPCs at the game's launch, and has continued into some quests from more recent years. You've got a robot warden intent on arresting you due to low inmate numbers, Grafton's robot mayor, and now the enigmatic Orlando, who manages the previously hollow White Springs Resort. Although, even now, ironically, I did find there was more life and depth in White Springs' ghoul-infested holiday homes. Aside from my issues with White Spring, I am very charmed by the weirdness of Fallout 76. Trying to summon a Wendigo by getting hammered and playing music, meeting a super mutant in a crashed space station infested with raiders, fighting the Holy Mothman cult who's taken over churches. I really like how far Fallout 76 has leaned into the weirdness of Appalachia and its cryptid lore. Reputation has returned in Fallout 76 too, which I am thrilled to see, especially as it has clear signposting with these meters that fill up the more you help factions. Have I accidentally opened fire onto an unnamed raider not realizing they're an NPC and not hostile? Yes, but that's nothing a quest or two for the raiders can't heal. One of the strange downsides of the new NPC factions, however, is that they are more normie than I would have expected, but I can live with that. For example, White Springs, despite being filled with an uneasy truce between raiders and settlers, still feels lacking. How can a pre-war spa filled with bloodthirsty anarchists and idealistic survivors feel so bland? The crater, a fallen space satellite inhabited by raiders which I wandered into and got sworn at half a dozen times, so felt very at home, has way more going for it. However, here I encountered my main issue with Fallout 76. Fallout 76 struggles with introducing important factions. There were constant mentions of the Foundation in a tone that assumed I already knew what it or they were, which I found disorienting and eventually quite irritating, as I couldn't ask an NPC what the Foundation was, despite it allegedly being so famed that people would just mention it out of nowhere. The same goes for meeting the raider robot Rose, who would mention a David out of nowhere in the sort of writing that assumed I already knew who he was. It had me approaching a key side story from back to front, trying to figure out who David was without any of the intrigue of discovering his story myself. Linking together these disparate story elements is tough for Fallout 76. I did a quest for the Duchess at the Wayward, but after that her character may as well have been a cardboard cutout, completely devoid of any further, albeit trivial, importance. Whenever I start to dive into finding some intrigue in Fallout 76 NPCs, I swiftly find my feet touching the bottom of the water, which, from afar looked deep, but up close is little more than a paddling pool. I can't excuse this as growing pains, as it's been 7 years since Fallout 76 came out. There are still things to like about the game, and these things keep me returning, even if that does boil down to the novelty of having a quote-unquote new Fallout game to explore. Allies at your camp provide you with daily mini-quests of some variety, so at the moment I have Raider Punk and his mysterious network of informants directing me to curios and treasures scattered across the lands of Appalachia. New old creatures such as the Wendigo, Snellygaster, Grafton Monster and my brief encounter with the Blue Devil are fun to fight and liven up the wandering I'm doing so much of too. I'm yet to encounter Mothman though, which as a goth fills me with great sadness. One of the most significant aspects of Fallout 76 is its Battle Pass-esque Fallout First. It was £6 to sign up for the first month, so I thought, why not? And I do quite like it. It works like Fortnite's Battle Pass. Complete challenges to get points and rank up. With each new rank you get tickets to spend, with each rank unlocking new rewards that you can buy with those tickets. Fallout First also gets you some freebies upon joining, like cosmetics and a Fallout shelter lobby, which acts as a souped-up camp. The challenges are predictable RPG-flavoured fetch quests of a sort. Kill X dogs, find X purified water, harvest X fruits, as well as taking part in daily events you'll stumble upon in Appalachia's towns. I'll admit, I do quite like doing these kinds of things. Sometimes, often, after a day at work, I don't want to do an entire quest, main or side, so these tiny amuse-bouche of RPG mini-quests are perfect for a daily check-in with Fallout 76 while I switch my brain off to a podcast. It gives the same vibes as the early days of Destiny, where I would log in, do some tasks, and then see if I wanted to do any multi-part quests. It wouldn't be fun to solely do these things in the absence of any quests at all, which is one of my main concerns with Fallout 76, but as a live service model, you would hope there wouldn't be too much risk of running out of stuff to do. It's a question of whether that stuff is high quality or just junk filler. I was never a massive fan of settlements in Fallout 4, so the camp in Fallout 76 has never been a big deal for me. But check back in with me in a couple of months, as by then, I'll have a better view on what Fallout 76 offers in the long term for RPG suckers like myself. And that's what I think of Fallout 76 since returning to it after 7 whole years. I entirely blame Fallout on Prime and Cooper Howard for sucking me back into it, but honestly, so far I'm enjoying it more than I thought I would, and I just spent my entire weekend playing it non-stop, so take what you will from that. Are you back into Fallout 76, or have you been playing it from the beginning, or have you not touched it since it came out? Let me know in the comments whether you're any of the above and if you're tempted to get into it again. I'm probably going to do some more videos on it as it has swiftly become my main evening pursuit. Thanks so much for choosing to spend your time with me, Zoe Delahunty-Light, and if you enjoyed or liked or honestly even just tolerated this video, feel free to chuck me a like on YouTube or a comment on the Eurogamer website. And now, I am going to go and return to my embarrassingly boring shack to hang out with Raider Punk and his radio. I'll see you folks next time.